Well, things are definitely picking up around the industry as this week we had a lot of news. So we're going to be talking a lot of Marvel in today's show because that's been where most of the news has been coming from. So from going very limited R-rated to various Spider-Man topics, that's what you can expect in today's show. As always, for our community members, if you are a member of the audio commentary tier, and thank you for all of you that have signed up since we began the weekly WandaVision audio commentaries, you can expect the latest episode to go up on Friday, or if you're listening to this on Saturday, it's already up. Various other content is always rolling out throughout the week, including comic book reviews and our new series where I'm looking back at various incarnations and different versions of the Ninja Turtles. And along with that, this week on Saturday, look out for a bonus topic where we go in depth into all the multiverse theories in relation to Spider-Man No Way Home. So with all that in mind, thank you to all the latest supporters. You guys are awesome. And now I'm just going to be quiet. And, well, technically I'm not, because I'm going to be talking right after this as I intro the actual show. So, yeah, let's just do that. Yes, we are back. It is a good week this week. We've been eating good, which is why it's everything I think Marvel conversation here, because they really just sort of stormed it, if you will, with the TCAs and everything, which has been kind of nice. So, I'm excited.
It's been a very good week.
Yeah. Especially...
unlike those other crappy weeks.
Yeah, unlike, I don't know, the other 48 weeks out of the year where we have nothing. But, yes. As always, this is your host, Armin. I am here. I'm excited to talk about all sorts of stuff, which you guys can see in that topic rundown. And of course, as always, I am joined by Mitch.
What's up? You can find me Mitch692, and I have coffee.
Oh, I'm good. I got, let's see, Mountain Dew Major Melon Zero. Yes.
Well, you're a real gamer, aren't you?
Oh, dude, I got my new gaming table set up. It glows. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm a gamer, all right.
That's what we like to hear.
It improves my kill skills.
You're a real gamer.
It's true. And we are joined by Mr. Pro Gamer himself, Tristan.
I'm going to need to get coffee soon enough. But you can catch me at It's JChance on Twitter.
As a pro gamer, shouldn't you be like pouring scoops of game fuel or G fuel into your nostrils? Like, isn't that what the kids do?
Yeah, you should. I know there's like tons of influencers who have that G Fuel code. You can get it pretty good. And I have noticed that some people are saying that some of the actual flavors do taste good.
Here's what I've noticed. G Fuel is essentially rejected pre-workout that doesn't meet the standard of gives you enough buzz. Because, like, my friend brought it over. He's like, dude, check out what I'm using as a gaming fuel. I was like, dude, this is the same ingredients as my NOS Explode. Like, we compared them. I was like, it's just lower dosages.
Yeah, that's what I assumed it was, because I was looking at it, because it didn't say like what it actually was, and then I saw it and I was like, this is just like pre-workout, isn't it? It's just, you know.
Like the G's for gamer. It's better.
It has a laser fire on the logo.
Yeah, the thing about it is, like, why would you need a shaker for it? And look at it is, it's just pre-workout.
My thing with all that sort of stuff is like the people that put like a massive exhaust in the car and be like, yeah, it's 10 horsepower extra. It's just like, no. Stop it.
Where are you going to use all that power? Like, what do you... Oh, well, I guess pro gamers got a pro game. That's what we do. And by that, I mean, I don't, because I am terrible. But, you know, it is a thing. We all got PS5s on here, right? Just to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Okay. Good. Good.
Compared to what other people are saying, is a PS5 you can reel at this point.
Yeah. I only know one other person in person that has it, so.
I say in a WhatsApp group I'm one of two people that have one. No one else can actually get one. Yeah. It's just like, wow. Every now and then you get that they're in stock, and it's just like, you are still struggling to get one. Like,
since I'm still friends with people that work at my local Best Buy, they've only gotten 2 shipments, and they were in November. So, like, but, you know, we're so out of the way and a little that it's like, we're not going to ship them there. Like, What? Nobody knows that place even exists, which is kind of true. So it's
those mountain men don't need PS5s.
We just hoist PS4s and toss them over our shoulders, and there we go. That's our gaming. So yes, with that in mind, let us know if you guys got your own PlayStation 5s or Series X's or Switches or whatever the hell you're gaming on these days. Maybe you're one of the people that scored a lucky unicorn in one of those NVIDIA graphics cards.
Christ.
Oh, that reminds me. NVIDIA said that they're going to drop 3060s today in about an hour and a half.
Oh, good. They're sold out to bots in about 3 seconds after they go live. Perfect. Perfect. Got to get that Bitcoin mining, boys.
It was the weirdest thing, too, because I was checking my email last night, and NVIDIA actually notified me saying, oh, yeah, we're getting 3060s in tomorrow.
It's like, cool, I'll never see one.
Goddamn. I have a 3060 GT or GT3, whatever the hell it's called. Whatever, though. I mean, at 1440p, which is what I play at with my ultra widescreen monitor, it handles everything perfect at like 60 frames a second. So I'm like, you know what, I'm content. But thank God I scored one for a reasonable price. But damn. Well, everybody, let us know what you're gaming on. And now we're going to just transition over into our main. So this is one of those scenarios that we've heard about before, where it's like, hey, if you skip WandaVision, you know, going into Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, we'll be able to catch you up on it, but there will be some recommended viewing. Like, you should probably watch it. If you don't, we'll do our best to explain everything to you, but you might get a little lost. That's sort of what Kevin Feige confirmed. You know, he said there was a lot of talks between Sam Raimi and the people of WandaVision and himself trying to figure out how does everything carry over, because Wanda is a huge factor in Multiverse of Madness, but also you have to do what the MCU has sort of succeeded at doing, where if you missed a few films, if you jump back in, you're sort of all caught up. Now, to me, that's an interesting one, because, like, Wanda's had so little screen time in the movies. So if you go from, let's say, Endgame to Doctor Strange, and you don't watch WandaVision, I feel like you're gonna miss a whole character arc, right? Like, you're missing a lot of story. Yeah. Like, I find that has got to be incredibly difficult, even for Sam Raimi, who's very talented. Like, that's got to be a task.
Yeah, but at this point, I think, like, if you're not following it completely, then you either don't care, or I kind of think.
And you can get the recap from Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, because all they recommend on Disney Plus is Age of Ultron. Literally every episode after WandaVision is Age of Ultron.
Yup. Yeah.
So it's like, you haven't got to watch Civil War, you haven't got to watch anything else. Like, just watch this bit and then you're good to go.
I mean, I feel like every MCU film now, you know how they have like the trailers and little things that play? And you know how Pixar specifically always does a short film before their Pixar film? Marvel Studios just needs to do a 3 to 5 minute previously in the MCU that explains the current film, because we're getting so deep into this that even people that like watch it, like we watch it, obviously, you know, we know what's happening. Sometimes I sit here and I struggle to remember what happened in something like 5 years ago. I'm like, did that maybe? I don't know if I'm like remembering it wrong. It's like so many moving pieces, and I think it's only going to get a little more complex. And it also makes me wonder, like, how do you ease people into Wanda and where she's at and how she connects into everything if they skip WandaVision? Because it's going to be like, wait, what? Like, how did she get so powerful? Why is she in this? Like, there's going to have to be at least some sort of exposition-y bit, right? Like, you have to plot dump Wanda and what happened.
Well, I mean, they didn't do that with anything else so far.
Huh.
I know what they mean. It's different that, you know, because it's a 9-episode TV series, so it's slightly different. But I don't know if you do. But I mean, I suppose they could, like, at the start. It's got, like, here, you know, here's the last 5 minutes, or here's like a 5-minute recap.
Yeah, it's like last time on WandaVision.
Yeah.
And she just sounds super depressed this time.
I mean, wouldn't that be funny if that's how they open WandaVision, is sort of previously on TV style to connect it to WandaVision. Like, that would kind of be creative if that's how Doctor Strange opened. I mean,
I was going to say, what if WandaVision doesn't technically end?
True, yeah.
Like, there's no like big ending in that, they just both get sucked into the multiverse or something, and then Multiverse of Madness opens up, and it's just like, we're here now.
Man, could you imagine that wait? We got to wait like a year to get the resolution to that. Ooh.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
That would be the worst Please Stand By of all time. Like, I can't even handle a week. I can't imagine a year.
And the worst part is that's what's going to end on, isn't it? That Please Stand By. God damn.
It's just Feige's face pops up. You didn't say the magic. Screw you. Just re-edits himself as Newman. God. Oh, God. I know, like, a part of me is really excited, though, by the whole idea of, well, look, we're going to have a tight enough story that you don't need to watch WandaVision, which that's like, you know what? I trust you'll be good with this, especially a film that focuses on the multiverse and all the rumors we keep hearing. If even a quarter of the rumored multiverses end up being true, this film is going to be insane. So it's like,
yeah. It just depends. Like, is there going to be a time skip between the two of them? Is it going to literally just lead straight into the other one?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to do it how the Spider-Man movies do it, where it picks straight up and then there's a little time skip? Or...
That's my hope. I would love that. Like, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about Doctor Strange and some stuff soon with how it might play in with some other things going on over in the Spidey multiverse. But overall, I think we're all excited to see how WandaVision concludes and carries over into the multiverse. I think that's something that anybody who's watching WandaVision has to be psyched for the next chapter. Like,
yeah. And I think at the end of the day, all they really got to do, and I'm going to assume the show's making her a Nexus being, because you don't mention Nexus otherwise.
Yeah.
You just kind of recap people on that at the start, and then just go boom.
I mean, yeah.
Or at least you explain what she actually is proper, and then you go into the movie.
Exactly. That would work. Well, we'll find out soon enough, and we'll find out how Wanda leaves off very soon. So, Feige released more details that are pissing some people off, making some people go, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. I know, shocked, right? It turns out Deadpool will be the only R-rated property in the MCU. That's what they're planning. So
I'll say at least for now. At least there's no current plan for it.
What's the problem?
Well, you got Blade.
Yeah.
That's everyone's all talking about. It's like, have we forgotten that that Blade? If Blade came out today, I doubt it'd be R-rated.
I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't like. With Blade, it doesn't really have to be R-rated. Like, you don't really need him cursing like every other word, because he doesn't really curse all that much.
Here's the thing.
All the kills are people getting dusted from the swords. So what exactly is the issue here? I don't know.
I also do want to say this as somebody that read the Blade comics. I'm not just a guy that watched the movies. There is very, very little Blade swearing, and the movies do a decent enough job for interpretation, but that is not Blade. I can tell you that straight up. It is not how it is.
And you don't really need blood to get creative with kills.
No.
Yeah, no.
That's the whole thing. It was like, cause that's the thing when I see people like, what follows with blood? I'm like, well, you don't really need blood to get creative with kills if you're gonna make Blade not just like a vampire hunter, but a monster hunter.
And also,
even then, it's all monsters. It's not people.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's sort of what I'm trying to get at. It's like, dude, vampires in Blade are a factor, but they're not the biggest factor because he fights other monsters and beings. And let's say, for example, in the first movie, which undoubtedly they're going to deal with vampires because you got to bring that concept into the MCU with Blade.
They're calling it Blade the Vampire Hunter.
Right. So it's like, you can't shy away from that. They're not going to. But when he goes, to a vampire blood bank, which is a guaranteed thing that's going to happen, if you just have black body bags and tubes running out of them, we know what that scene is. It doesn't have to be dripping blood. Vampires in their culture are very clean, and they don't like to get all bloodied up unless it's part of a more ritualistic type thing. Again, I love history, vampires are one of the things I'm really into and love studying. So there's a different way to do it where you don't have to show grotesque over-the-top blood. And if you want a good example of this, What We Do in the Shadows by Taika over on Hulu. It's a great vampire series, and they touch upon all that. You barely ever see any blood. But it's great, and they do werewolves and things like that in it. So, like, I am not, like, at all concerned with this hampering the vision or story or anything. I think it's actually going to strengthen the story because they can't just toss blood all over anything and be like, we're adult. Yeah, you know, it's like...
And even now, like, PG-13 movies have blood in them.
Yep.
The line between PG-13 and R is becoming really, like, thinner and thinner.
Yeah, I think it's just the amount of curse words you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, I think it's probably which ones as well.
Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, again, big factors go into this. Now, let's say, since you're looking at, like, Deadpool being the only R-rated one, right? So no Blade. What do you do then, like, because a lot of people want to be like, well, Deadpool, let's have a Spider-Man crossover, right? It's like, well, Sony probably isn't going to allow that to happen, right? They're not going to be like, ooh, allow Spider-Man to swear like crazy up in a Deadpool movie. So you run into another sort of contractual problematic scenario, and I don't think Kevin Feige would even want that either, just being like, oh, this is so... It kind of gets childish almost, I want to say. Like,
yeah,
if you get what I'm saying. Like, it's like, oh, you're just swearing for the sake of swearing, I guess. So
it's that kid mentality of like, oh, I shouldn't be saying this thing, but it's cool to say it.
Yeah. Which, admittedly, everybody goes through that phase. It's just a thing, you know.
I'm still in that phase right now. Like, like when YouTube censored everyone, it's still... I still struggle now.
That is a thing, yeah. That is a thing.
A third of my vocabulary has been decimated by YouTube, so thank you.
And that's because, like, we're so accustomed to it because it's so prevalent in pop culture, right? It's like... Yeah. And that works with Deadpool, though, because Kevin Feige even said, that's something the character is known for. We're not going to mess with that. Like, you know, reconfirming, R-rated again, you know, it's like... There's so many things that go into this decision, and I'm glad that he's talking about Deadpool as a thing that he clearly understands they don't need to change too much, and they shouldn't change it too much because, I mean, the backlash would be huge because, again, you know, swearing and all that, and it just goes hand in hand with the immaturity of the character, which is something that's very, you know, well established for that character. So how do you think they're going to play around with it? What do you think they do with Blade? How do they take that in a different direction, I guess? Like, what would you even do?
I think with Blade, we kind of already nailed what it's going to be. It's like it's monsters. You don't have to worry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if monsters and non-human things counted towards the rating, then like every Avengers movie would be R-rated because the amount of things they kill.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, Captain America alone, for the love of God, it's like he's a soldier.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, dude's killing left, right, and center.
Yeah, that's...
I don't know, because R-rated movies, like, you can... A lot of them fall into the, well, why was that R-rated?
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, this thing didn't need to be R. Like, there's just... Because people swear, it's like, is that really... Does that warrant an R rating? I'm not entirely sure, but...
Yeah, I mean, if we look at some of the ratings for, like, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier internationally, some people are already giving it an R. It's like, oh.
The Netherlands is like 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that is. So it's like, well, I guess, you know, you target whatever you have as a goal, and we'll see how it ends up. Mm-hmm. So I think we're all in agreement. It'll be fine. Deadpool can remain the only R-rated thing.
Because you know, you look at the other company right now. You look at DC. The BVS Ultimate Cut was R. What was R-rated about that?
It was?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I honestly can't
I want
to
say because the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh.
That whole subplot. I think it was R because of that, and it's just like, well. It didn't add anything to anything, so it's just like people just want the R rating just for the sake of it, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm an adult. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
It's like everyone will get to that point in life where it's like, no, you just stop caring.
Yeah.
Tell the
Like
story.
Deadpool doesn't act like an adult.
No, not at all. So, well, I guess in due time we'll find out how this goes. Whatever they decide to do, whatever other franchises, if they ever go into it, I'm pretty sure there'll be a reason to do it. They're not just going to do it for the sake of doing it. So, yeah, it's
So it's the same with WandaVision. Let them tell the story they want to tell.
yep.
If it's R-rated, cool, it's R-rated. It's not suddenly going to be good because it's got R on the
Yeah,
box.
I see that sentiment so much on the internet. I'm like, oh my god, come
Yeah.
on.
It's like, oh, this is going to be good if it's got all blood and guts. No, if you want that, watch a snuff movie. That's the only reason why a movie is good.
Next up, the long-awaited title reveal for the third Spider-Man film is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Dang, I wanted Home Slice.
Yeah, I liked Homewrecker. That one was hilarious.
What was the other one? Phone Home or something?
Yeah, Phone Home. That
MCU
one.
TikTok's like, wait a minute, is that E.T.? I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, MCU TikTok doesn't even know what ET is, so let's be fair. I guess.
I mean, they do now because they Googled it after.
Of course. Yeah.
It's Phone Home.
So I want to
It's
talk
a
about
Spielberg movie, don't you know?
Spielberg was influenced by Zack Snyder, don't you know? Damn it. Anyways, yes, let's talk about the title. So I guess I'll go first and I'll give my thoughts on it. I think that it fits what they're going for. It's a very on the nose title that I think can be taken multiple ways in terms of what is going on, what it could be, what it says, the ideas behind it. And I like the sort of you obviously knew they were going to keep home in it because that's been their thing, you know, like Spider-Man 2 admittedly had a terrible title, Far From Home. Like that is
I didn't hate the title. I don't hate any of these titles.
It's grown on me. Like... And I think this one's probably my second favorite one. Like, I think Homecoming is the best one out of the bunch because it's so self-explanatory and we know what it stands for. And like the Homecoming dance was such a small little factor that they just shoehorned in there to be like, it's not just because he's home at Marvel. Like, I think this one works for what they're going for. What do you feel about this one, Mitch? What's your take on it?
I mean, it's cool. I'm fine with it. It's a title. I don't get mad at a title like a lot of people seem to be. It's just like, it's a title. It's like an R rating. If the movie rests and like lives and dies on the title, then something's gone wrong somewhere. But it's just like, cool. I assume it's going to play a factor into the movie like everything else, and it's cool. I've seen worse titles. I've seen better titles.
I mean,
it's better than just going like The Amazing Spider-Man, which in fairness, actually, I quite like that. Thinking about it. At least it's not just gratuitous numbers anymore. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's
I'm not really a fan of the numbering scheme anymore. So it's like this.
Poor Iron Man's the only one in the MCU with
He's
numbers.
like, give me subtitles.
I should tell like Guardians have it, but
yeah. Oh, Tristan, what's your take on the title? What do you get from this?
Not against it. It's interesting. I like that they're going with subtitles instead of the number titles instead. If it plays like a major part in the whole story, then good. If it's like Far From Home, where it's kind of part of the story but not the essential part, I'm okay with that too. It's not the worst title. It's like, I don't know why people get mad that like the title of a movie is not like an integral part of the overall story, where like it has to play a big part of what's happening in the movie.
I wanted the title to be Spider-Man Tobey Maguire takes center stage.
It doesn't like need to be like that. It's just a title to get you somewhat interested interested in it. Like, would you really want it to be just Spider-Man 3? Would you like it like that? Spider-Man 3.
Can you imagine if they actually called them Homecoming 1, 2, and 3?
Well,
Homecoming 2, like I suppose you could have gone like senior year, freshman year. You could have done it that way, like Homecoming senior year.
Yeah.
I don't know how American schools do their stuff.
You have flunk year, summer school, basic economics and logic because you don't learn it.
That would be a good title for the second movie, Summer School.
Summer school. Peter doesn't understand the basics of. I don't know. The Tesseract.
Oh no, he does. It's just that with the Spider-Man gig, he hasn't been doing his homework.
Oh, see, I was thinking of the Amazing Spider-Man where he couldn't figure out what stops electricity, like rubber, and you have to ding it or whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid Spider-Man.
But no, a title was supposed to, give you a vague look at the overall thing, and I assume it does that.
Exactly.
We have a faint idea of what the movie's about, and it's it fits. Cool.
I think people want on the nose title like There Will Be Carnage.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is
I forget, but it's always on here. The pair of you always bring that up, and I forget about it.
You're like, why do you have to keep mentioning Carnage and Morbius?
This is my WandaVision origin story. I tell you right now.
Mitch is gonna wake up one morning with a crappy looking wig on. There will be Carnage.
The only reason I remember that title is because I just looked at my screen and King of Black got delayed, so that's the only reason I remember symbiotes exist.
Well, that's our take on the title. You guys, let us know your take on it, and we'll talk more Spider-Man now real soon. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was this the first time ever Kevin Feige openly did not ignore mentioning these characters by name and actually addressed the dispute that happened with Marvel TV that he never had contact with them, and they just did their own thing? Because
I think he might be, yeah.
Because he openly name drops Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, Agent Coulson, all those recently, and then he also mentions being oh yeah, what they were doing on Marvel TV, I never had any say on it. It wasn't even my thing. It's oh wow, huh.
Which we know is a bold-faced lie because Agent Carter.
That's the only one. That's the only one by the look of it. So
he also he helped with the concept of the Netflix, which Netflix characters to use.
Right. Man, he's just happy right now because he's the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what we know is back in the day when they greenlit the Netflix deal, Bob Iger in that investors call literally said that these characters are being overlooked by Marvel Studios and we're looking at including them in the film side of things. And that's right when we learned that dispute between Perlmutter and Kevin happened. So he sort of got booted to the side during the development of those, and that was it. Which, unfortunate for him, because you go back to those old interviews. I mean, he loves Iron Fist, he loves Daredevil and all those characters, which is why he thought, hey, this will be good. And then, he was shut out of that, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, now that he's openly talking about them, he did say that they can use these characters now, and you never know, when they're going to show up, or they could. So, what do you make of this? What do you think he's specifically saying in regards to these characters, if anything? Come up with some theories here.
I mean, it's as to what he's saying, he's never, ever shut out an idea.
Mm-hmm.
They have got 8,000 characters. They make a point of that several times to say. But why would you ever limit yourself with something like this? The second you start limiting what you can and can't do is the second it dies. So him saying yeah, of course we can use any of these characters. They've already it's already there and established. Daredevil, all they have to do is just go, cool, we're just gonna use Charlie Cox here and done. It's fine.
Yeah.
You haven't got to do any homework. There it is, bang. And I think that's probably more what he's saying, if anything.
And it also makes me think of something we discussed earlier, which is the whole idea of Multiverse of Madness. Bring in Wanda. We'll catch you up on who she is. We can drop her in this, but you don't have to watch WandaVision to get everything, because they're just going to treat the character like, yes, her story continued and it's picking up from elsewhere. I think this sort of makes me reassured that, let's say hypothetically, they get the She-Hulk, which he mentioned is going into production soon. If for some reason she needs to take a case up in Harlem and Luke Cage just happens to be there, they don't have to drop all that exposition. Just being like, yeah, the character's grown since the last time we saw him. Here's his new status quo. There you go. It's like, I like that he's sort of teasing that element of it, being like, we can just do what we want. Like, you know, we own these characters, so pull it in, drop it in if it fits. With that said, Tristan, what do you think, like, happens with some of these? Do you think they drop them in anywhere? Do you think anybody appears somewhere? What's your take on this?
It's entirely possible. They have this, they have the multiverse of characters that they can actually play with now. It's not like they need to tell you who these people are anymore, unless like you just came out of a coma in the last 5 years. So it's not very hard because a lot of these characters right now are really interconnected. So it's like you said, you really don't need any exposition to tell people who they are. Like if you want Luke Cage to pop up in She-Hulk, you can if that's what you want, or some of the other characters. You could even. Yeah, you could even do if they wanted to. I don't know that they would. Is like have some Iron Fist knowledge in Doctor Strange.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. You can like do kind of London and all that.
Oh, yeah. Just mention the 7 cities of heaven for me, please. That's all I need. Just tell me it's getting rebooted properly. That's
all you've really got to do. You know, you can put like if you're gonna say have Daredevil and Spider-Man. You can just easily make a situation where the two characters can relate.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Parker's worried about his identity being out all over the places, and you know, Daredevil revealed his to Fisk at the end of season 3. That's the last thing we saw. So it's like those two characters can relate to that, and at the same time, that can explain where they were last.
Yeah.
The people that haven't seen anything. It's like, hey, you know, it's not so bad. People can know. You just got to be careful with it.
Yeah, just make sure you don't step back on them because they might publicly leak it and then you're going to jail. So,
yeah. Make sure you beat their mouth shut.
Well, I suppose with that,
just because you're a hero doesn't mean you won't beat them down.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, I suppose with this, it's all kind of a good indicator that he's finally talking about these characters by name and everything and name dropping. Now, I think there's good hope that these characters will show up down the road because, I mean, right now we're at what? We're going to be 3 MCU movies, 4 a year, and 4 to 5 TV series.
Yeah, it's a lot.
They're probably even going to expand that even further. Like, it's
more than likely, yeah.
Yeah, it's
We're going to get to a point where there's overlap, and that's going to be weird.
Yeah. You could pick and choose if you want to watch one of these or not. It's like, oh, wow, okay, that's an upgrade. So
it's kind of like if you're going to start overlapping, getting me used to the idea of 20-minute episodes is fine.
Yeah.
Watching multiple 20 minutes a day is better than watching multiple hours a day. So.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. So
you know, and the majority of these
occasional 40-minute episode.
Yeah,
that's true. But like the majority of these characters, you haven't even got to do a lot of work. The only ones I think you really would have to do a lot of work on is like Daisy Johnson. Is she ever going to bring in Quake?
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, we're out in space. It's like, yeah, well, Shield was kind of in their own thing towards the end of it. So let's think, or even just go right. We're going to ignore season 6 and 7 because they were really bad. Let's just go from 5 and bring them in that way.
Oh,
that's what I'd do.
Well, I don't know. The end of the last season of Agents of Shield, it's like Mac is the director, Shield is in full force, Coulson's in his flying car. I'm like, boy, none of this matches up anymore. So they're definitely not in the MCU, like as we know it. So yeah, you'd have to kind of pull pieces in and see what happens. But we'll let them figure that out. We'll sit here and enjoy the content as it comes at us. So we'll talk about it.
Let's do the really easy thing and just be like, this is, you know, that was in a different multiverse. This one is this version. Like, there's a lot of similarities there, but for the most part, this is this version now. So.
Exactly. It's easy enough to do. So hopefully they'll do something with these characters soon because I want to see more Daredevil and I want Iron Fist rebooted. So
I just want Quake in Secret Invasion.
Maybe. Well, I mean, why not?
Please.
So Tom Holland kind of dropped, I think, news many of us suspected with how contracts work these days, and that's that his contract, as it stands right now, is officially out, at the when the last film comes out. At least for standalone appearances, we still know there's a cameo here or there that he's got.
I was gonna say this is his main appearances.
Yep.
This isn't including cameos, is it?
No. So I like kind of what he said is like, look, guys, I've been doing this since I was cast. I haven't been allowed to go ski or do anything because of safety reasons. So I'm going to actually take a little break and go enjoy my life, which tells me that on the back of what else he said, that he believes Sony and Disney are already figuring out the contract, that maybe Spider-Man doesn't come out 2 years after the last film, which is contractually what they want to do. Maybe they take 3 or 4 years, and the next time we see Spider-Man, he's aged up a little, he's a couple years into college, and it's like, oh, okay, like, and I'm kind of down for that, like, give Spidey a little break, make him do a couple cameos, cameo in the Fantastic Four if need be, and then continue on with a new, trilogy, if you will. So
wait, this just shows up Fantastic Four. You guys hiring?
Exactly.
No? Okay.
Hey, you guys, I'm straight out of college. You hiring? No. You wasted your money on a degree, though. That's cool, bro. Welcome to America. So, what do you make of this being his last contractual film? Do you think that's any indicator for anything, or is it just
no?
Not
How many
really.
times did Don Cheadle say he was out of contract? And look where he is right now.
Yeah.
Look at Paul Bettany. Where is he right now? We don't know where he's going to be afterwards, but currently he has work. They always said they're out of contract. They've been doing it since 2012 with Avengers.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of things. It doesn't mean he's never going to do it again, because of course he says, like, if they want to do it for 10 years, cool, I'm there. No.
Yeah.
It's not really like he's going to make life hard for them.
I mean, my guess is also going to be like he's going to want a little bit more like freedom to do something.
He's going to want more money.
Oh yeah,
some other stuff. Yeah,
it's like sometimes it's not even like disagreements. It's just they haven't offered me anything. Like I can't really say anything if there's no contract in front of me.
I mean, there's like 100% chance that the amount of money he's making right now is so little that it's these other roles that he's getting that are actually feeding his pockets, and the Spider-Man role is probably so low-balled that honestly it's not even worth like comparing to his other films like Cherry, for example, or things like that, because he got those roles on the basis of the success of Spider-Man. So you go back to like Chris Evans and Hemsworth, their first 3 films, they didn't even make like $500,000 with all 3 combined. We're talking like 2 Captain America films and an Avengers film, 2 Thor films and Avengers, but they got to renegotiate a better deal. So I think he's saying, hey, look, I'm willing to do it, but I'm going to take a little break, and I'm also going to make sure that if they tell me, hey, Tom, you can't go on vacation because we're afraid you'll get hurt. Well, I want to go on vacation, so I'm doing it. It's one of those types of deals where it's
also probably a factor of they're figuring everything out.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's figure out the plan, how everything works into what Feige ultimately wants to do with the MCU. And it's like, right, cool, we've got our idea. Now we start pitching everything to the actors and getting everyone back on board.
Mm-hmm. And
it's as simple as that. There's nothing. No. We're not going to have a situation like last time.
Oh, they will 100% try to avoid that, because they looked like both studios looked bad, but Sony looked really bad on Twitter, being like, well, they don't want to talk to us. It's like, oh.
Yeah, Sony played that really badly. I think they know.
Yeah.
They don't want to agree to our rules.
That was an embarrassing time for everyone involved.
I mean, that's it. It is what it is. I'm hopeful that maybe they can work something out to include Spider-Man in more things, like not just, oh, here's the Spider-Man films and the Avengers films. Like, I'd like to see more of him appear in other things. Like, I would love it if he just got to team up with like the X-Men for something, like.
I mean, he will. When that happens, they will.
Yeah,
There's no way.
Don't just do like the lowest common. Okay, here's your 3 Spider-Man more. Here's 3 more cameos, Avengers films. It's like, no, do a little more. It's Spider-Man. Like, he's going to be here for a while, and there's probably some contractual stuff, too, that's happening that's like, hey, guys, take Venom, shove him into the universe. And Feige's like, like, I mean...
He's like, are you guys 13?
Yeah.
You don't need him.
I mean, maybe Feige's going to negotiate, being like, look, I'll take Tom Hardy, and he'll be Venom, but...
He'll be my Venom.
Exactly. It's like, I'm not touching that thing, like, whatever the hell you've done over there, you know? Like, I'm not having Woody Harrelson with a terrible wig show up and be like, none of that garbage. Like, so maybe that's where they're at. You can hope, because I don't think they're going to get into another spat at each other, which is probably the best.
And, like, I'm going to bring it up as an example of, like, how contracts can work. It's not. I don't think it's really comparable, but like F1 at the minute, the last couple of months, Lewis Hamilton didn't have a contract for this year, and everyone's going like, "Oh, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?" It's really weird. It's like it's just life. Like they're not arguing with each other. They're open and they're gonna sign something.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, so they're just doing other things. They sort some stuff out in the contract, and hey ho, look, he's signed on for another year. So
I mean, you mentioned that, and like I can always equate anything in frickin' comics to wrestling, because that's how it is. Like, your contract starts to run up, they give you less TV appearances, they'll make you lose a couple matches, they'll give you less interviews, and they're hoping that by the time, you know, your contract is up, you're signed a new one so they can put you back in the spotlight. So it's like Spider-Man's in the same position. He has another film, another cameo, and they'll probably use that cameo after his next appearance. That's my assumption. Maybe in the Fantastic Four or something, like I said. And like during that time, it'll feel like he's not gone. Well, again, like Doctor Strange, he hasn't had a goddamn another film to his name. At this point, it's going to be like 7 or 8 years by the time we get it. But he's been everywhere. It's like, oh, yeah, right, that character hasn't been in a film in ages of his own, but nothing is really lost in the transition, so...
No, they just don't want him to burn out the audience.
Yeah.
And God knows Spider-Man burnt out the audience last decade.
Oh, God, yeah.
For the last 15-odd years, it's like, oh, no more, please. But I say burnt out. His second movie made $1 billion, for God's sake. Well, yeah, it's just a thing that happens. It's just part of the industry.
And the Raimi movies made 4 because of inflation.
I hate inflation.
No, they didn't.
I despise inflation.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just how it works. You know, there's obviously no intention of stopping. It's like, cool. Well, I'm currently out of a job in a minute, so I'll just take a break.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go join the DCEU as Robin. No, Tom.
God, can you imagine?
No, please.
He's gonna go to the Star Wars sequel remakes as Finn. He's gonna get that wrong now.
He's doing it this time because last time he couldn't stop laughing from the droid noises.
I mean, if a woman's sitting there going beep boop, no, I'm laughing.
This time they'll have Kevin Feige playing R2-D2 so you can take him seriously. Feige just on the floor rolling around like BB-8.
Every beep boop is just this blot on the contract of light fluid. It's just like, take it seriously or I ignite it.
Darth Vader is a Rothman throwing paint chips.
Oh no.
Oh, I love that there's always a degree of fans that are in the comments be like, a Rothman comment, we get it. And then there's the new people that listen, they're like, what the hell are they talking about? Who's Rothman? What about paint chips? If you know, you know. Him and crazy Uncle Rad. Those crazy...
Rothman's Mephisto.
Oh, this is the worst of them all. That has officially brought us to the end of the show, which is pretty awesome. It's a pretty good show. Marvel heavy show, obviously, but we haven't had much DC unless... Well, here, we're not going to make this a topic. We'll just quickly mention it.
There was some stuff, wasn't there, from this week?
Jesus Joker.
Oh, yeah, let's ignore that.
Oh. First thing I wake up to.
How about we don't? I know they re-announced the Blue Beetle movie. It's like, cool, you announced that.
Isn't that like 15 years old at this point?
We've been talking about that since Joe was hyped to talk about the Blue Beetle movie, okay?
Yeah.
He was like, this is going to be great. It's coming probably after Suicide Squad. Yup.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
It's coming after the Suicide Squad at some
I was gonna
point.
say, he didn't say which Suicide Squad, but it's coming
The
on.
actor they got now is a middle-aged man.
It's ridiculous
They're
how
doing
long that's
Smallville again.
The worst,
Blue Beetle
puffiest
book.
suit known to... Dude, that thing looked so uncomfortable
Yeah,
and
it
bad.
was
It was...
horrific.
Oof.
I never watched Smallville at that point, and I saw a clip of it the other day. It's just like, wow, they tried to make that thing fly, and it's just like, that's bad. That's bad.
You guys should have just put him in a leotard. It would have looked better at that point. It just, thing was just terrible. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Here, quickly, I want to talk about this one. The Halo TV series that's been in development for at least a decade. Yo, Paramount Plus, the amount of content they announced coming at us this fall to next year, they have put HBO Max to shame. Like,
My only thing with Paramount Plus is it's the home of the reboot. There's nothing new that they announce. It's like, cool, we're doing this thing with this thing. It's like, great.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's complaining about reboots in Hollywood. You're literally just the reboot channel.
At least,
Ironically, they're rebooting the streaming service. Which,
at least we get Avatar movies.
woo!
I mean, that's true. That's true. They said, forget Netflix. We're going over here with our Avatar.
Going animated.
You have Netflix have fun with your live action one. We're gonna do proper Avatar.
Good. And they also said feature films as well, so my guess is Netflix owned the TV rights, but they're going to make original films, which, what a war.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that they put out there is that you guys don't like the live action, so we're gonna do animated feature films.
Yep. Cool.
See, Avatar's one of the very few cartoons from like the mid noughties, late noughties that really kind of warrants this sort of stuff. Like, it's not like Fairly Odd Parents where they're going to do a live action thing. Like, no, like what the hell are you thinking there?
It's weird because they should have done this, but looking back on it, it's just for whatever reason it usually just boils down to it's not selling toys, so we're not really gonna invest in
what.
That's what most animated shows boil down to. If it's
Also,
not selling toys.
What shocked me is it's like Paramount owns Nickelodeon and all that. I'm surprised they haven't announced a new Ninja Turtles, but I'm guessing because Netflix is sort of has a deal to put out the animated film, they're probably just sitting on that announcement, so they don't.
Yeah, because just I think like 15 minutes ago, Nickelodeon announced that they're going to be working with Hasbro on a new Transformers show.
Woohoo!
Oh well, rip Netflix. That's something else you lost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Netflix, dude, with the projections for Disney Plus surpassing Netflix in like 2 to 3 years, like people are gonna finally see. It's like, guys, Netflix is not all it cracks up to be. I mean, it's already not all it's cracked up to be, but it is what it is.
Netflix
shows left and right. This is what you get.
It's like Netflix when it was on its own was this big, amazing thing, but it was always flawed. So the second you hold up a mirror with everything else in the background, it's just like, Netflix isn't really that great.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of nothing on there.
Yeah.
It's artificially inflated, but
it is what it is, I suppose. So this one.
Hey, CG Rugrats. I'm excited for that because it genuinely looks good.
That looks good.
Yeah, I think they got most of the original voice actors.
It's most. Well, they sound different in that clip, and I'm just like, is that actually them? But it's like, nah, it's them.
What blew my mind was they announced a new live-action Dora the Explorer TV series. I'm like, is this a sequel to the movie? Because that movie actually wasn't too terrible. Like, it was a good Indiana Jones for kids.
Yeah, I think it actually made some money.
It did. It did.
Yeah, so that's why they're gonna go forward with it.
It feels wrong a little bit. It's just like, no, keep Dora's a cartoon. Keep it a cartoon.
It was weird in the movie because they recreate the entire intro, and it's like done in a style, and they're like, oh, it's different. And you're like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. So I suppose we'll see. I'm excited for Paramount. I want to see what they have to offer. I mean, hopefully it's good stuff.
I just can't believe they're going to have both Halo and Destiny.
Yeah.
I know it didn't announce anything for Destiny, but the whole Viacom has 2 people on the Bungie board of directors now.
Yep.
And they're like heavily investing in that developer, and they clearly state that they're taking Destiny to different forms of media. It's just like, you're going to have both Bungie properties on there? Like,
So, I don't have to read anymore.
I was gonna say, if all they do is just take from the lore and the grimoire, thank you, because that stuff is, it's perfect. It's so good.
Find out how Nathan Fillion's character stubbed his toe. Sweet. I think he's in that game, right? Is Nathan Fillion?
No, he was. Nathan Fillion turned into turned into Nathan Drake at the expansion.
Oh,
I say he was in the game. He actually is back in it, kind of, for 2 voice lines in a certain mission. But that's about it. Yeah.
Well,
otherwise he did.
But that mission's good though.
It's really good. It's damn. It's like, hey, this is literally a Halo map in Destiny. Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, like the stuff like Dredgen Yor, like, is a movie unto itself. So.
Yeah, I'm excited also because Bungie announced that expansion of their entire studio to make new games. I'm like, oh hell yeah.
I think they said a quarter of their staff during the pandemic has never been in the office,
and
they've just been like expanding like mad.
Also, they're expanding their office by like 3 times the size.
Yeah. Bungie's literally about to become the next Blizzard.
Yeah, because I think their next IP, I think the code name is massive. I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. They got a couple they're working on, so it's a good time for Bungie.
I would love it if Bungie was able to make a team to pick up a Star Wars game, because I could imagine the shooting mechanics and squad gameplay would be killer. A real good Battlefront. How about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say no one does shooting like Bungie.
No, their shooting is smooth as butter. My God, it's.
You get some funky like crit shots, but apart from that, it's just like I shot that dude in the ass. Like, why is it a crit?